boys, welcome to the 13.14 patch rundown. So basically, quick rundown of the builds. From now on, we're going to do Black Cleaver into Sterak's. If you like Mythic on second, you can still do Mythic on second. The reason Sterak's is so good on second now is because they've obviously buffed Sterak's on 13.14. What they do with Sterak's, they've reduced it by 100 gold and they've given it 50 HP. So a lot of the builds are the same. It's just you're building Sterak's earlier because BC Sterak's together it's around 7,000 gold value, right? And BC and Sterak's are incredible items on Urgot. So Black Cleaver, you go Black Cleaver, you now have enough damage to sustain out anybody. And then you go Sterak's, so you can survive anybody. So it's just the perfect harmony of items, in my opinion. So I definitely think this will become the dominant, best build path for Urgot. And then after you've built these two items, you can just slot in whatever mythic you would like to go. So the best definitive build, I think, in general, is Even Shroud. I think Black Cleaver, Sterak's Even Shroud will be the best overall build. The reason Black Cleaver, Sterak's Even Shroud is so strong is because it does everything. There's always been this problem with Urgot that when you go into a lobby, there's not one build that does everything, right? If you go the Black Cleaver, Sterak's Yomu's build, you're very aggressive, you're very squishy. If you go to Black Cleaver, Sterak's Radiant build, you're more team reliant, you're grouping more. If you're going Jack Show, you're tankier, and sometimes you can't finish off the 1v1, but you will survive it, right? Even Shroud does everything. It gives you survivability, it gives you skirmishing, it gives you 1v1 potential, it gives you team fighting potential. It is good against champions that stun you, like Jax, because it's guaranteed Even Shroud's going to go off, even if you miss E, because he's going to hit E on you, right? Even Shroud, it's cheap, it's great, it's broken. Even Shroud, best build for this patch without a shadow of a doubt. Second to that would be Yomu's, then Radiant, then Jack Show. Out of all of these, I find Jack Show to be the most situational, if anything. But you can round out the builds however you want. So for example, a full build with Even Shroud would be Black Cleaver, Sterak's, Even Shroud. And then, do you need more damage? You can go Grudge. Do you need more survivability? You can go Redemption. You can go Spirit Visage. You can go Anti-Heal, etc, etc. I do think Hullbreaker has found its spot with Urgot as more niche. The problem with Hullbreaker, ultimately, is it has a range penalty attached to it, and sometimes split pushing simply just doesn't work. This is more applicable to high elo than it is low elo. Low elo split pushing can get heavily rewarded. So if you're low elo watching this video, take it with a pinch of salt. Hullbreaker is still good. You can do Black Cleaver, Sterak's, Even Shroud, Hullbreaker. You can just go splits and pretty much no one will be able to contest you. But in higher MMRs, you get punished more for split pushing, right? So if you can find the angle for Hullbreaker, it's definitely good. But there's usually just always something better in slots. War of Malmortius is on par with Sterak's still. I think Sterak's might be slightly better, so if you're going to lanes with Mordekaiser, if you're going to lanes like Gwen, you still want to be rushing more Malmortius because it's the best anti-AP item, right? So more Gwen, Rumble, just build more, rush more, and you'll be fine, right? Later in the game, you can sell more and then buy Sterak's if you find it appropriate. But yeah, pretty much this patch is build Sterak's. Moving on to the matchup section of the patch rundown, here's the modern 13.14 matchup guide. Basically, the champions are impossible. I don't think you should ever blame yourself for losing against. I think even if you are the better Urgot player against Gnar, Heimer, Kennen, Olaf, and Poppy, it rarely matters. I don't really see ways to make these matchups like playable. On my list, there may be some controversial opinions that you maybe don't agree with, and I'm glad you don't agree with me, because it means you're thinking. So, use your brain thoughts, go to the comments and say, hey Urpog, I think Urgot is actually favorable against Sion, or I think Urgot is like hardly countered by some of these champions. We can have a discussion. I will reply to every single comment as long as it's like a prompt like, hey Urpog, do you think XX is, you know? But I'm down to have a discussion, so continuing on. The Warden's Mail category, these champions beat you if they build Warden's Mail, but just keep in mind, even if they go Warden's Mail, they don't really necessarily counter you, right? Because you can play against champions without needing to kill them. Against Malphite, for example, I'll put a video on screen, which I'll link in the description, where I show you like why Grasp is good against Malphite, right? Because Malphite's going to build Tabbies, he's going to build Warden's Mail, and he's going to face tank you. So you run Grasp, but you just relax. You just don't do anything. You just hit a minion, hit Grasp, hit Malphite, bully him out. And then Warden's Mail becomes redundant because you're not doing your main damage source with W, right? So then Malphite looks like a moron going Warden's Mail while you benefit from being better suited against the matchup. Because obviously Grass is AP. Grass gives you max HP stack per proc. So it's just another way to generate value, right? So even though these champions do counter you traditionally, tanks are a very bad matchup for Urgots, and they build Warden's Veil, doesn't mean you have to fight them. There's other ways to build a lead. If you want to Urgot counter, you might be surprised to see Kale here, especially if you're not an Urgot player who just randomly found this video. Kale, level 6, beats you. Nasus beats you on Sheen. Tryndamere has a bugged interaction with our ultimates, which is automatically recast your ultimate when he gets like damaged at low fury, or low health, and he's locks spaghetti code. Akshan, it is what it is. Akshan is more of a placeholder for like all range champions. Like Varus top is absolutely unplayable. It's a recent fad, but like Varus top going AP with barrier, absolutely unplayable. But Akshan, Bane, they do counter you, but you can always kill them reliably with E-Flash. You can max Q into range champions and be absolutely fine. So it's more about adapting to these picks rather than just, ew, my champion's counted, you know? Urgot's stronger than you think he is, especially if you're in lower elos. But keep in mind, my list is based around 700 LP. Moving on to skill diff, we've got Jax, Aatrox, Akali, Darius, Fiora, Gangplank, Jace, Aurelia, Pantheon, Riven, Yorick, Yone, Yasuo, Set, Teemo, and Rengar. The problem that probably sticks out most to you here is Riven. Because a lot of Urgot players say, oh, Riven's a preload matchup. In low elo and mid elo, this is true. But in high elo, Riven players are a little bit smarter. Because basically, what Urgot mains like to do is wait for Riven to Q3, and then they'll just respond with E, and then they'll one-shot her, right? But Riven mains in high elo will do Q1, Q2, W, Q3, and then they'll disengage the E. Or they use their E reactively to your E. Be careful with Riven, because she wins on level 1 if she has Longsword Ignite, because she can get a full rotation off her Q up, and then another full rotation before you get a second E up, right? So to do Q1, Q2, Q3, and then they're disengaged after they've done their auto attack resettings and stuff like that, and then they're re-engaged before you have another E up and catch you off guard. They like to run Nimbus Cloak also. For Urgot favorites, we have Camille, Gragas, Alawi, Renekton, Shen, Rumble, Vladimir, Maokai. So Rumble is a contested one, and so is Alawi. I think against Alawi, Urgot mains just need to be more aggressive in general, and against Vladimir, just buy more and permafight him. Freelo, Dr. Mundo, Cho'Gath, Garen, Gwen, Mordekaiser, Warwick, Volibear, and Singed. Mundo, hard aggress, level 1-2, take his shield, ignite him on the next E, and then you'll kill him, and then you just maintain a lead. Cho'Gath, Swifty Boots, Garen, range versus melee champion, Urgot counters him because you just press E on his Q. Gwen, more, Mordekaiser, more, Warwick, you take Ignite top lane, you just outbrawl him. Volibear, space him, and then Singe, you buffer the flip. Right, so I'll put a high quality link to this on Twitter if you want to save this or bookmark it so you can look at it like often. That's it for champions. Thanks for watching the video. Before you leave, I would just like to make a mention that I'm doing coaching now. You can see the prices on the screen right now. Basically, if you want 1 hour of coaching, which is a game review and then a VOD review, you get for $30. But if you want it for 2 hours, which is basically 2 games reviews, and then we VOD reviews those games, $50. So save 10 quid if you do it twice. Hit me up. I'm also selling shirts if you want to support me and the channel. I'm wearing my shirt right now, actually. I have this in black and white, I have this in minimalist color, and then I have it in full color. I've also got another shirt design, which you can check out in the description. So, thank you for checking out the video. Hope it helped. If it did help, leave a comment. Nice to see you, Urgot Mains. Hope you have a nice day. Peace.